Good. Okay, let's make a start. Right, we're going to start with the Bible, the first book, Genesis, chapter 1, verse 31, and that reads, "Then God looked over all that he had made, and he saw that it was very good." Don't worry, I'm not going to preach a sermon. But I suspect we can all agree that the natural world, or creation as the Bible describes it, is stunning. Okay, we'll go with that. Beautiful. Fascinating. Yep, we'll go with that as well. Beautiful. You probably recognise that particular view, taken on a walk we did earlier in the year. And because it involves us as well, the natural world isn't just all that stuff. It's us too. So it's complicated because the natural world involves people. Let's go back to beautiful, shall we? I could go on, but you get the point. God says it's very good, and we agree. So, if anything as wonderful as the natural world, indeed the whole world, is under threat, we are likely to want to protect it. And under threat it is as a result of global warming. Perhaps better termed these days, global heating. But before I go on, perhaps I should introduce myself. As a child, I lived on a farm in West Cornwall. I've always loved the outdoors. I trained as a children's doctor in big cities, but was lucky enough to get my consultant job in Norwich, so my family and I could live in South Norfolk and continue to enjoy the natural world. I do wonder if a career concerned with the welfare of children led on to concerns about the climate crisis, which will so damage the planet they will grow up in. All this concern for me came into focus about 3 years ago when I read that IPCC report. You probably know it. For a large group of reputable scientists around the world. Oh, sorry, it's all gone rushing on. Hang on, let's go back to where we need. There we go. Large group of scientists around the world linked to the United Nations. That was a report that concluded that global warming was definitely linked to human activity, and that was because human activity led to greenhouse gas emissions, and that the result for the planet would be very bad if we didn't take action soon. Now, I know from your helpful website that you've had speakers in the past who've spoken about the very real risk to the planet as a result of global warming, so I was not going to rehearse these now. I also note you're arranging a showing of the People's National Emergency Briefing, which rehearses all that stuff. So I would like to take it as accepted that there is a real climate crisis facing the world and serious action is necessary to mitigate it. Okay, if we accept that, so what of the church? What does the church make of the climate and nature crisis we face? Well, as we look on the world and nature as God's creation, and we believe God charged humanity with looking after that creation, you won't be surprised to find that the church takes it very seriously. A quick sideline here. Calling the world God's creation does not make me a creationist. I don't believe that the world was created in 6 days and that the Bible account is literally true. The Synod, the General Synod, is the main parliament of the Church of England, and they said this in 2020. They passed this resolution. There is a climate crisis, indeed a crisis for the whole of creation. This motion encourages all parts of the Church of England to recognise this and to take coordinated action towards a target of net zero by 2045. That was echoed locally. The Diocesan Synod, that's the local synod for the Diocese of Norwich, in 2021 echoed that, declaring a biodiversity and climate emergency. So I think we have established there is a crisis and the church think it's important. So what about this A Rocha business? Where does that fit in? Well, that's not standing up, but there's a wonderful poster here showing the A Rocha system. So A Rocha is an international climate care charity. Environmental charity, sorry. It's going to happen every time I change sheets, isn't it? There we go. And it has various things. It has eco-church, which is a big part of what they do, but it looks after some land, that's Partners in Action. It runs a movement called Wild Christian, and it involves different events as well. So it has other activities, but the main one we are concerned with is eco-church. And A Rocha's eco-church programme equips churches in England and Wales to care for creation. And I'm going to read you a bit more now from what they say about it on their website. Eco-church is a learning community of churches of all shapes and sizes. It provides a framework to support your church and its leadership to take practical action on caring for God's earth. It includes a toolkit of resources, an online awards survey, a quarterly email update, online events, prayer forums, and occasional conferences. As they state, this help is centred around a survey or questionnaire. But before we look at that questionnaire in a bit more detail to find out what it's about, let's just take a quick look at what's happening across the Diocese of Norwich. So there's a map showing the Diocese of Norwich and all the little bobs, the churches which have shown an interest of some sort in caring for the environment using the A Rocha scheme. So 222 churches have registered, which means they have access to the scheme and are looking at it. 71 of those have got a bronze award, which means that they've started taking action along the lines we'll be looking at when we look at the survey. 36 have got silver awards, including, I think, someone mentioned Chedgrave, and Newton Fotmont, we've got a silver award, so we're very pleased with that. And one gold award, church at Upton, no, remind me where the, no, it's gone from me, never mind. There is one gold award in the diocese. So, how do these churches get their awards? Let's take a look at the survey, see how the eco-church actually works. So this is the survey. It has 5 headings: worship and teaching, buildings and energy, land and nature, community and global engagement, and lifestyle. The survey is big. There are about 20 points in each category, so 100 in all. As we have said, churches who register with the scheme are encouraged to work through the survey. When they are acting to care for creation and the environment, they can submit their survey and receive an award, bronze, silver, or even gold. But, and this is a very big but, this is not supposed to be a box-ticking exercise. You don't just go through and tick all the boxes and say, I've got an award and this is great. The survey is a fantastic library of suggestions, ideas, and resources to inform and inspire churches towards creation care. So it should be a journey, and the awards are a part of that and a fun part. But only that. It's the survey and the action results that's really important. Just to illustrate the resources, whichever activity is mentioned in the survey, and as I said, there's up to 100, is likely to have resources to back it up on their website. So if you're looking at encouraging native wildlife in your churchyard or your other church premises, then there's a result. So there's a resource on that as well. So lots of resources. So let's have a look through the survey together and see what sorts of ideas they are suggesting. Don't worry, we're not going to do all 100 questions. We're not going to take that long. And we're going to start with buildings. Yes, we're not looking at the survey in the same order I've shown you. We're going to look at an order that I've selected. And the first section is the survey, as I say, is about buildings and energy use. You might recognise these two buildings. And here are some suggestions from the survey on how you might save energy use in a church building. Double glazing, solar panels, roof insulation, heat pump, low energy light bulbs, draft proofing. Now, if you were offered those at home, you might think, yeah, well, that would be good. But for a church, really? Double glazing on one of the churches we looked at just now, roof insulation? It's not going to happen, is it? Low energy light bulbs can be useful, and some churches have got as far as managing Solar panels. I think this is Peter Mancroft with solar panels going on. Heat pumps are interesting. They are good for continuous heating for buildings in continuous use, but not so good if you want to heat your building once a week for a service. As I say, a few churches have indeed managed solar panels. But you will be pleased to know the survey goes well beyond these ideas. It has different suggestions for different types of buildings and tries to suggest practical solutions for older buildings. After all, the eco-church scheme can be used by all sorts of churches of any denomination. So suggestions appropriate for St Andrews up the road may not be suitable for a busy city centre church with people on site all week. The survey is very strong in suggesting that churches reduce their energy use and buy sustainable electricity. They are very keen that oil and gas boilers be phased out and clever electric heaters used instead. Pew heaters sound nice. I've never tried one, but it always seems like a nice idea to have your pew heated, doesn't it? And modern radiant heaters are said to be very effective. Again, in churches, they tend to be mounted so high you're hardly aware of them, but I think we may be moving on to newer and better systems. There is a question in the building section about resilience, using church resources to help the community cope with the effects of the climate crisis. But I think Rupert is going to talk more about that. So I'll leave that topic to him, not about churches, but about resilience. So let's look at the next category, land and nature. Well, this group, your wildlife group, could have written this section. Your wildlife patch scheme exactly reflects the Eco-Church survey when it comes to land management. With over 600 church buildings, mostly with attached churchyards, the Diocese of Norwich can be an impressive resource to promote the natural world if appropriately managed. Of course, it's not straightforward. Churchyards are usually graveyards as well, and the bereaved can and do expect a well-ordered space where they can attend and remember their loved ones. The survey therefore suggests that you have a plan to manage your churchyard. This often includes a traditionally carefully mown area for the more recent graves and memorial, and an area often with older graves, an area managed for wildlife. Usually that area is not mown in the summer months. I should say that the Norfolk Wildlife Trust have very good resources to help churches manage their, manage their churchyards, and that's an important resource that I'm not mentioning elsewhere, I don't think. These are some ideas from the survey for promoting biodiversity in your churchyard, and again, they will sound familiar to you. Bird boxes, bat boxes, bug hotels, hedgehog boxes, food for birds, not forgetting that the RSPB have recently issued guidance suggesting we don't feed birds after the end of April, end of May, end of April, thank you. And that we don't have flat table feeders for birds because of the risk of disease spreading for birds if you feed them in those ways. Wild scrubby areas are good. We did a walk last week around Rockland Broad, and on the edge of the parking area there's a sign again from your wild patch scheme advertising an allotment wild area, which is fantastic. It's full of nettles, brambles and weeds, so you were spot on when it comes to that. Log piles are good, composting and mulching is good, and sources of water for wildlife all the year round are good. A bit of boasting here. This is Newton Flotman's Bug Hotel, of which we're very proud. It's 5-star. It's just fun to do these things, isn't it? And we certainly enjoyed building that one. Right. Now, here's a vital principle. Church is not about the building. This is Shotsham St Mary, as it happens. Church is about the people, not just the people who go to church, but also the local community. And I need to point out, these aren't the people of Shotsham St Mary, I don't think. just a random group from the internet to illustrate the point. But yes, people. We've talked about buildings, we've talked about land. We do need to talk about people as well. The land management part of the survey begins to involve people at this point, suggesting citizen science. It's good to involve people in the obvious ones, the big garden bird watch or the big butterfly count. There are also resources about wildlife and plant surveys where local interest groups or young people's groups can be involved. Those resources are on the Eco-Church website. They also suggest it's good to make your churchyard more accessible so the local community can come and enjoy it and enjoy the wildlife. Again, this is from Newton Flotman because it was handy for me, but we have a notice which describes what's going on, again assisted by Norfolk Wildlife Trust. There's a path which isn't very clear from that. And we have recently a prayer trail, this sign in the distance, has various points where you can stop and reflect. Pray if you wish, but simply reflect on the natural world or on life if you need to. So making your churchyard accessible to the local community is an important principle. Moving on. Lifestyle. This is the next section we're going to look at. There's a whole survey part which deals with lifestyle, where people are very much at the heart of the survey itself. The survey encourages lifestyle changes which are good for the planet in that they reduce our personal greenhouse gas emissions, or if you like, reduce our carbon footprint. I expect you're aware of these lifestyle adaptations. Eat less meat, use your car less, drive more slowly, avoid excess flying. These are not easy, and when we promote them, it really feels as if we're nagging. Very negative. Don't do this, don't do that. The good thing about managing this in a church context is that we can start with a church community. Can we share lifts to church or encourage walking to church? Let's serve plant-based meals at all church events. Let's check your biscuits for palm oils. Now there's a challenge. If you check your biscuits for palm oils, I bet you can't find one that hasn't got any palm oil in. You may, if you're lucky, find them with sustainable palm oils. But yes, palm oils are a real problem. We can then encourage each other. Let's try a meat-free day this week, or better still, a fully plant-based week. Let's challenge each other to save 10% in fuel this week, or take a UK holiday. Lifestyle changes are important as our world battles global warming, and a church community may be a good place to start. Now we know the effects of individual lifestyle changes may not be huge, but if we are to campaign effectively in our communities or globally, we need to walk the talk. Talking of campaigning leads on to our next and penultimate survey topic, community and global. This sounds like a big topic. It is a big topic. So let's start local. It's important that churches on their eco-church journey involve the local community. This works both ways. The church benefits from the experience and the help of local organisations, and the church may encourage the local community to act to benefit climate and nature. So what might this mean for a local church? Now, I've taken a bit of a nerve here because I've picked Rockland Church and local groups. This is just to illustrate. I don't know what attachments already are or what might be suitable and what not, but it illustrates nicely the way that local things could go together. So your group will be a fantastic bonus to care for a local churchyard. The local school, as we said, can be involved in citizen science. The Scouts, Poorland, I think, is the nearest, but again, it would be great to involve them in churchyard care. We've talked already about how helpful the Norfolk Wildlife Trust can be, and the Norfolk and Norwich Back Group. So you can see how the local community can really be a part of a church's climate care journey. Now global. We have been talking very much local, but let's be clear. The national and international ramifications of the climate and nature crisis are huge. The transition to sustainable power for our country will be demanding and complex, and not always popular. We do need to keep telling our leaders to keep at it and celebrate when they do. Globally, there is another issue. The climate and nature crises are profoundly unjust, with the most devastating impacts affecting the poor and vulnerable who have done the least to cause the crisis. We are called to love our neighbour, and so it's our responsibility to them and the places they live, wherever they are, to demonstrate love for people and nature by advocating for a more just world. I'm going to quote the Bible again at this point, because there's a really powerful reference here which says, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." And we could well argue that churches are not doing that if they are not caring for the climate and paying attention to the global implications of climate. So, how do we go about global care? Well, here are some suggestions from the survey. It suggests you might get involved in campaigning. That might mean going on a march or signing a petition, or you might engage with one of the organisations, Greenpeace, World Wildlife Fund. We've lost one off the bottom there. Oh yeah, Green Christian is another international environmental group which might well be helpful. Sorry, not finished this one yet. The way we as churches handle our money is important, so we should ensure that they're invested ethically, and that's mentioned, and there's a resource over that. And engaging with your MP or other representative is a really good way. As we said, it's really important that our leaders know that we care about these matters and have opinions on them. So being in contact, and again, you're doing that as a group yourselves in having Ben Goldsworth come to your People's Emergency Briefing. Ben Goldsworth came to the meeting at our church climate care group 2 or 3 weeks back and was very helpful and supportive. So we come to the last area of the survey, worship and teaching. I come to this 5th area of the survey last, but when you think of church communities, this may be the first thing you think of. What do church communities do? Well, they get together. They sing worship songs or hymns. They listen to sermons, which is teaching, and we pray. So these are the areas that the survey covers: worship, teaching, and prayer. But what does that mean in practice? How do these churchy activities link to the climate crisis? Well, at one level, it's evident. This is a well-known worship song, and you'll see that it talks all about the natural world. When through the woods and forest glades I wander, and hear the birds singing in the trees, when I look down from lofty mountains and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze, this is all about the natural world. And it makes the Christian sing, "Then sings my soul, my Saviour God, to thee, how great thou art." Teaching occurs in all sorts of areas in church, in study groups, in sermons, in training courses, and in conferences. And as you are well aware yourselves, there is much to learn about the climate crisis and about caring for nature. So there's plenty of teaching that could relevant and can be done. And again, there's plenty of suggestions in the survey as to how that might work. And lastly, prayer. Prayer is interesting, isn't it? Because in a crisis, for an individual, it's natural for people to pray. People of any faith and none may pray if something terrible is happening. And here we are in a world where something is happening, something terrible is happening. So it's natural that we pray about it. And again, there's guidance in the resource on how that works. Now, the survey then takes this to a deeper level and suggests that churches might support a statement such as this: Our church recognises and teaches that creation care and action to address the climate and nature crises are integral to the Christian faith, life and worship. That is to say, this stuff isn't an optional extra, it's a key part. And if you're actually doing these things, that's a form of worship in itself. And the bishop has supported that and come out with his own vital statement saying responding to the climate and biodiversity emergencies is not an optional interest for the ministry of the church. It is an imperative for the mission of God's church. We are nearly at the end, and this is a quote which isn't particularly Christian. You may well have heard it before if you know about climate matters. Gus Speth is an American climate lawyer, and this is attributed to him. I used to think the top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought with 30 years of good science we could address these problems, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with those, we need a spiritual and cultural transformation. And we scientists don't know how to do that. So the Arosha scheme can perhaps be the first step on such a spiritual and cultural transformation. In conclusion, therefore, I hope you will agree that I hope you are encouraged that the church is taking this crisis seriously, encouraged that the church values organisations like yours, and impressed that the Eco Church programme is a powerful tool in climate action. And finally, as we battle to care for the natural world and our planet, let's just remind ourselves what we are fighting for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Richard. That was really good. And I can see you've taken care to make that specific to the local area.
Yes.
That was very good, pleased about it. It was very nice. There's lots of things to think about there, lots of really good ideas. Right, so I'm going to ask for questions from the floor. Have you got any
Stand up.
questions? Yes, Robin.
The award scheme, am I right in thinking just over a third of churches are registered?
Yes. Yeah, there's 600 altogether and 200 registered. Yeah. So it's a long way to go.
Over 10% got wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
How do we encourage the others?
Well, you tell me. I go around talking to churches about it and trying to persuade them to get involved with sort of simple startup programs and things. It's difficult, isn't it? Because many small parish churches are very snowed under, just keeping their heads above water, safeguarding, just keeping the place going at all is a real struggle. So it is hard.
Traditional, aren't they, if you're on a parochial council?
Yes.
Some people are very traditional in their viewpoints about nature, I think.
There is that too, yes.
A lot of them could save money by cutting back on their grass cutting schemes.
Yes.
The number of churches we go to that are absolutely scalped.
Yes.
There's one the other side of Harleston that we went to in June, and thanked Oliver eventually. Well, he turned up at the car park, and the car park attendants were busy scraping moss off the brick wall outside. So we went in and it was scalp.
Yeah.
They had a flower festival, 75% of which were artificial flowers.
Yeah.
And we banged on to the church, wasn't I banged on the church for them, so what do you think about the bishop's environmental plan and the rest of it? And I said, do you have a wildlife area? He said, yes, we do have a wildlife area. It's at the back of the church, and we cut it for the last time yesterday. As he said, you, anything.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. No, it's disappointing.
Yeah. Very
When you get a group of churches, like the Czech Valley group,
Yes.
7 churches, I suspect you know, and Shedgrave has got an award,
Yes.
how do you get Loddon, that leads that group, to do something with their churchyard in the same manner? Or are they just individually run by the church wards, or anyone
Well,
who
it-
takes up the idea?
Really, it takes a local team to make it happen, to get it into action. So a whole benefice, a whole group of churches will be led by the same clergy team, but will have different, as you know, church wardens and people who go to the different churches. And the clergy can help to encourage all the churches to join in, as the bishop is demonstrating. You know, this is vital stuff.
But I think in the main it's the church wardens that have to say, isn't it?
Well, it should be the PCC that decide, and that this big statement about this stuff is actually key to the life of your Christian life is approved, or should be approved, by the PCC, the parish council. Not the parish council, the church council.
Barapton's very good around here.
Yes.
Hannington, which is a disused church, and Hales and Heckenham, they're all just left. It's great.
Yeah.
We can thank Laurie Lane Rogers. She was doing it.
Any questions?
Yeah, is there likely to be a lot of diocese and red tape, say, making a small pond in a churchyard?
I don't think so. We haven't at Newton, Newton Fotman, where we're from, because of the sort of theoretical risk of someone falling in it and coming to harm. I would have done it. Yes, we have taken action in the churchyard, which we haven't sought particular permissions for because they seem natural, and I think we would just do it if the PCC wanted to. I think we would just do it. I mean, not a huge one. We don't want to be digging up graves. But ponds can be tiny, can't they? And small puddles are really helpful, I gather.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some gloomy news around, isn't there?
This area, East Anglia, this part of East Anglia.
If I could...
2050. And that was the CEO of Anglian Water saying that. Yeah. They said the arable frontier is moving west because this will be drying out.
Yeah.
Is that why all these...
Yeah, there's better than what problem half the electrons and half the...
Is that for me, or who's the question for?
Well, if I can have a minute, I know one church in particular has some land that is a field that they rent out to a farmer. So the money from the field goes into the church. To me, they could let that land, I mean, it's a reasonable size, it's not massive. They could do something with that, a woodland or a meadow or something. But then they'd lose that money, wouldn't they? Which I know the church as a whole, people think has a huge amount of money, which perhaps it does in artefacts, but to upkeep their buildings cost a lot, and the little churches are struggling.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use church land for something, they're going to lose income.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really helpful example because it's one church that is managing, you know, a few acres, and the total church, you know, there's hundreds like that. So if you're going to chase each one down, work out whether they can afford to lose some of it.
Historically were given to the church.
Yeah. So in principle, yes, but you know, we keep hearing how the church is struggling to respond to the crisis, aren't we?
Can I just ask, it's very good that we have a bishop who's so committed and gives such a lead, and we're lucky in the Diocese of Norwich. Is the church movement equally strong in other places?
I don't know the answer to that. Certainly the Rocha scheme is national, and I don't think it's stronger in Norfolk than elsewhere, but no, it's a good question, and I haven't seen exactly how well it works elsewhere.
Does, forgive my ignorance, I simply don't know, does the Bishop of Norwich have a chance to lobby on behalf of what he believes in
Well, he is
amongst his peers?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he is the lead Bishop for Environment for the Church of England. So, yeah, he should have plenty of opportunities to push it. Yes. Yeah. Any more? Just to illustrate the fact that this is real, our youngest granddaughter lives in New Zealand with our son and his wife. And we have a chat with him regularly on the phone, and this time he said, actually, we're a bit alarmed, Dad, because there's been unprecedented flooding in Wellington. And it's forecast, it's a storm warning, and it's forecast to rain all night. And will my house flood? And will my granddaughter? And you know, it's real, isn't it? We are now dealing with and worrying about those sorts of crises for our own families. That happened to be in New Zealand, but it could equally well have been elsewhere in the country, couldn't it? So sadly, this stuff is coming, and we do need to take it seriously. Thank you.